الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثات بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد الحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this ni'mah, this favor, this blessing, this gift of al-Islam. Alhamdulillah ala ni'matul Islam wa kadhabi al-ni'mah. Alhamdulillah. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the gift, the ni'mah of al-Islam. There's nothing like it. There's nothing else except Islam. There's nothing else that will be accepted from Allah Azza wa Jalla except Islam. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Al-Islam, our way of life, or as they say, our religion, is not just a creed, a set of theological beliefs followed up with some ritual acts of worship, followed up by a list of do's and don'ts, halals and harams. A critical component of al-Islam is the brotherhood. A critical component of al-Islam is the brotherhood. You can kind of look at it like a brick building. Can you imagine a brick building? You're building a house and someone is stacking the bricks. They're not using any mortar or any cement, just bricks. And I don't care if they stagger the bricks or line the bricks straight up. Don't care how big each individual brick is. All it takes is a little man to come and push or kick one of those bricks, and the whole building will come falling down. Say, why? Okay, that makes sense. We all know that whenever you use bricks, you put mortar or some type or some form of cement between the bricks to hold them in place. So yes, the brick itself is important. What you make the brick out of is important. But the thing that holds the bricks in place is that mortar, that cement. Likewise, in Islam, our creed, our aqidah, our iman is extremely important. It's the most important thing. Our outer form of Islam, meaning the 5 pillars and the other acts, they're extremely important. If you reject or move away without an excuse from any of these things, you're not even a Muslim. So needless to say, it's extremely, extremely important. But the thing that holds all of these things in place, the thing that makes sure that these things function properly, is the brotherhood. The thing that makes Muslims strive to be the best, the thing that makes them sacrifice, is the brotherhood. The early Muslims understood that. When you became Muslim, you entered into a universal brotherhood. A brotherhood that recognizes, you won't hear this first part what I'm about to say, you won't hear it. You heard it here. It recognizes family. It recognizes clan. It recognizes tribe. But it gives a higher preference, a higher priority, a higher recognition to brotherhood. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Indeed, only the believers are brothers. Allah could have easily used just a simple tawqeed, a simple certifier. He could have said, Inna al-mu'minuna ikhwatun. Allah could have said that. But Allah didn't use the word inna, He used innama, which is when what Allah uses when He restricts something to something else. And in this case, Allah is restricting brotherhood to iman, belief. Allah is restricting brotherhood to belief. In other words, real brothers are believers. Therefore, make peace between your brothers and fear Allah so that you may achieve Allah's mercy. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa afdalu salatu wa atamu taslim ala sayyidina سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ورضي الله تعالى عن السادة التابعين وعلماء العاملين وأئمة الأربعة المجتهدين ومقلدين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the early believers, they understood this. When those men from Medina, even before it was called Medina, came to Mecca to meet with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they wanted someone that will be able to squash the beef between them, squash the beef that they had between them. They wanted someone to arbitrate their differences. Because, see, they had a long-standing family feud. A lot of us grew up, those of us who are old enough, we grew up hearing about the Hatfields and the McCoys. It was kind of similar to that, with the Aus and the Khazraj fighting each other in Medina. They actually had a battle called the Battle of Bu'ath. And Aisha, radiallahu ta'ala anha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mentions in a statement that has been collected by Al-Bukhari that Allah used that situation, the Battle of Bu'ath, to pave the way for them to enter Islam. Because, see, when you have people who are stuck in their ways, they don't like change, even if that change is for the better. And in this Battle of Bu'ath, a lot of the elders from both tribes were killed off. And so you had a younger crop of leadership. And it was this younger crop of leadership that went to Mecca and eventually ended up embracing Islam. But just think about it. Think about uniting with someone and you know that person killed someone in your family. There's blood on everyone's hands. Not just someone talking trash or someone trying to sabotage your family. Someone outright killed your family in a battle. And so they all recognized that they were headed for self-destruction. They recognized that they couldn't continue on in the way that they were going. So they came to Mecca to meet with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to ask him to be their mediator, an outsider, someone that can, see this thing from a bird's eye view and make peace between us. And it was by means of that they entered Islam. But the amazing thing about it is, when they came that first time, I'm talking about Bay'atul Aqaba al-Ula, the Bay'at when they gave the oath of allegiance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam the first time. There were two of them. When they went there the first time, a handful of them, a little more than a dozen, and embraced Islam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Mus'ab ibn Umayr, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was a young man, back to Medina with them to teach them al-Islam and to give da'wah to their people who had not yet embraced Islam. When he went to Medina, Mus'ab ibn Umayr, when he went to Medina, obviously he was treated very well and very hospitable. Was it because they went way back? Because they feared him? Or because he had money? If you know this history of Mus'ab ibn Umayr, you know he was cut off from all of that. His family had money, but when he embraced Islam, they cut him off. It was the brotherhood of Islam. See, the root of their brotherhood was al-Islam, Iman. These are new shahadas. And they brought a stranger back to Medina with them, their Muslim brother. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. Only the believers are brothers. By the time the next year came, and the second group went to Mecca to meet with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not only did they come back with larger numbers, but Mus'ab ibn Umair established Jummah prayer, and he had it on the cracking in Medina. It's not even called Medina yet. When he came back to Mecca, the Prophet ﷺ agreed to go back with them, and then we know after that came the Hijrah, the migration from Mecca to Medina. When the Prophet ﷺ made Hijrah from Mecca to Medina, as the Hadith in the Seerah states, Akha Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam baina muhajirun wa baina ansar. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made a brotherhood between the muhajirun and the ansar. The muhajirun were those who made hijrah from Mecca to Medina. The ansar were the Aus and the Khazraj tribes who had embraced Islam, who obviously are from Medina. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he paired up Sahaba with Sahaba. Sahaba from Mecca with a Sahaba from Medina. Why? Why do this? Because they were refugees. They left most of their property in Mecca. They didn't have anything. And so he would pair, as we said, one Muslim from Mecca with another Muslim from Medina. Very interesting. And then they had also worked it out, and this was a legislated, meaning from Allah and His Messenger, brotherhood. Meaning that if a Muslim were to die during that period, they would inherit from each other like family, like blood brothers. But after some time, that was lifted, but Allah established a brotherhood between them. And part of that brotherhood, see, in Medina, they had date palm trees and stuff like this. And so they had made an arrangement where a muhajir, an immigrant, would work on the date palms. And that was the way he would earn his keep. It was like an Islamic version of what we know as sharecropping, where you do the work on someone else's land and you split the profits. But look what brotherhood does. When they would get the harvest and the Ansar would get his half, the Ansar wouldn't take it. He'd be like, no, that's yours. Like, no, that's not the agreement. I'm supposed to work and give you half of what I get. That was the agreement. It's like, no, we don't want it. You're our Muslim brother. Some of the muhajirun went back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam complaining against the Ansar. Ya Rasulullah, they're not living up to the agreement. We supposed to give them half of the proceeds, and they won't take it from us. They're getting all the good reward from Allah. That's brotherhood. You know the famous story. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made or established a brotherhood with Abdurrahman ibn Auf and Sa'd ibn Rabi'ah. He paired them up. And if we didn't clear it up before, when they got paired up, they lived in the house and everything. Sa'd ibn Rabi'ah said, Alhamdulillah, welcome, you're my brother in Islam. He took it all the way there. He said, I have 2 orchards or 2 gardens. You can look at whichever one you want, and I'll give it to you. It'll be yours. to make it relevant for us, just imagine someone said you can stay in a brother's house and this brother got 2 profitable businesses. Say, see which business you like, and I'll sign it over to you. It's your business. I'll step all the way out of it. He also said, I have 2 wives. Look at which wife pleases you, and I'll divorce her, and when she finishes her iddah, I'll marry her to you. So Sa'd ibn Rabi'a said. Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he said, Barakalaka fi maliha wa ahliha. Ainu sukuk. So may Allah bless you in your wealth and put blessings for you in your family. But just show me the marketplace. Why did we mention this? To show the spirit of brotherhood that they had. See, and I just cherry picking a couple of well-known stories. This stuff goes real deep. These things go real deep. And so it helps us to understand why these men were able to do what they've done. We said, okay, they're brothers because Allah says to be brothers. Yes, Allah says to be brothers. But Allah also says, or Allah also teaches us, that this brotherhood, the motivation of it, the thing that inspires it, the thing that motivates it is love. See, when you don't love something, someone has to force you to interact with it. If that love isn't there, you don't want to do it, you don't want to be around it, I really don't care about it. For example, some of us work in professions that we don't care about. Every day going to work is a jihad. It's like, oh my God. Oh. But if we love our job, we almost pop up out of the bed. When you don't love someone and you see them, you almost want to turn go around the other way. But when you see someone you love, you go to them. And better than that, if you don't see them, you're looking for them. Why? Because you love them. Love produces something. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ used that terminology in many of the well-known hadith that we know about. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. None of you believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. The word love is there. The Prophet ﷺ could have used any combination of words. He could have used the word fadla, prefer. He could have used a lot of words. But he used the word yuhibba li'akhihi. So he loves for his brother. Sometimes it's translated wants for his brother, desires for his brother, wishes for his brother. But it says loves for his brother. Because see, if you really love for your brother, if the love is there, no one has to force you. Because you love that person. No one has to force you. No one has to put a gun to your head to make you treat that person equal to or better than you treat yourself. Why? Because you love them. It's only when you don't love the person that someone has to force you. Someone has to put a gun to your head. Someone has to threaten you with the hellfire to make you do what you don't want to do. Because the love is not there. And you can't get out of it. It's all connected. It's one of those things about the chicken coming before the egg or the egg coming before the chicken. What do I mean? The Prophet ﷺ said, "La tadkhulul jannata hatta tu'minu." None of you can enter paradise until you believe. You will not enter paradise until you believe. In other words, the key to Jannah is Iman, faith. You're not going to get into paradise until you believe. La tu'minu hatta tahabbu. That's the next thing he said in that hadith. You will not believe until you love one another. These are conditional sentences. Okay, the condition, the thing I have to fulfill to get into paradise is I have to be a believer. And the condition or the thing that I have to fulfill to be a believer is that we have to love one another. See, you can't get out of it. You can't separate the mortar from the bricks. See, now we have a lot of bricks. That's why our foundation is weak. Or in some communities, we got a lot of mortar and no bricks. What do you mean mortar and no bricks? We got a lot of pseudo brotherhood, but no tenets, no creed, no nothing. Anything goes. And you notice the combination don't work. You need both. You cannot enter paradise until you believe. And you will not enter paradise until you love one another. The Prophet ﷺ continued to say, should I not show you something that if you do it, you will love one another? He said, Afshu salama bainahum. Spread the salams amongst yourself. There are many other narrations where the Prophet ﷺ said, feed the believers. Going back to the early generation. And I want you to compare what I'm about to say to, I'll put it this way. A lot of us have what we call in this society, half-brothers or step-brothers. Do you think that you having a brother that you grew up in the same house with, and another blood brother, same parents, that you didn't grow up with, I don't care if you hated the brother that you lived with, do you think you're going to be as tight with the one you barely know, or the one you grew up with? The one that he know when you stop wetting the bed. You confront or you what? He know. He know how you tough on the street. He know how you scream when mama pull up that switch. He know. Y'all grew up in the house together. Y'all went through certain things together. Y'all were embarrassed in front of each other. Y'all did, sneaky things that mommy and daddy told you not to do together. Y'all snitched on each other. Y'all grew up, y'all went through all of these things together. And even if the two brothers or the two sisters or the brother and the sister are like oil and water, there's a relationship there. It's not the same as another brother or sister from the same parents who, for whatever reason, didn't grow up together. It's not the same. See, it comes from interacting and putting in work with one another. That's why they were so tight. They didn't have this virtual remote control long distance brotherhood that we have. And we wonder why we don't really have no brotherhood. Because it's fake, there's no interaction going on. The Sahaba, they starved together. The Sahaba witnessed each other get hurt and killed for the sake of Allah. They protected the Prophet ﷺ. They did all of these things together. That's why it produced such a great brotherhood. Buzz, can you move up a little bit? You can't get around it. I know we want to be comfortable and we want to do everything from our phone. We want to do Islam from our phone. We want to do the brotherhood from our phone. We even want to make salat from our phone. We don't even want to make salat. We want to have the phone make salat for us. I mean, that's how bad it is. We want to do everything for the phone. Real life don't work like that. The thing that holds our Islam together, individually and collectively, is the brotherhood. And the thing that holds the brotherhood together is the mutual love that we have for each other. And the thing that inspires that love is the La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. It's a love that we're supposed to have for someone who Allah blessed to be able to utter those words. There's no God but Allah, Muhammad is his messenger. You love them because Allah loved them. He favored them to come into Islam. He didn't have to choose any one of us to become Muslim. But that's what you love in that person, that La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم حسنا ومن حسنا تغفر إذا جاء